In the last exercise we looked at adding fractions, and I thought I would do it in a little bit more detail. So as shown previously, the number of parts in each fraction, the denominator, must be the same before adding fractions. So we're specifically talking about this number here on the bottom. They must be the same. Now, to add them, we need to identify the lowest common multiple of the denominators and use this to create common denominators with equivalent fractions, which is what we did, and that's the formal statement of it. So if we had a half and a quarter, the first step would be to find the lowest common multiple. Here I've listed the multiples, 2, 4, 6, 8, and then multiples for 4, 8, 12, 16, and then looked for a common multiple in both lists, and that would be 4. So once I know that, I can write out my fractions with common multiples, common denominators. To make a half into quarters with a number with a denominator of 4 that we found out from the previous bit, we multiply by 2 on 2 to find to have quarters in quarters. Well, that's not so hard, but I wrote here times 1 on 1 just so that you can see you can use the same process. It's the first multiple. So 2 quarters plus 1 quarter, the answer will be in quarters, and we will have 3 of them. To understand this, it does take a few goes, but once logged in, it's quite easy, and as I said before, you need to know your tables. So here's a few other examples. 2/3 plus 1/5. The lowest common multiple of 3 and 5, as we can see here, is 15. We need to make 15 in the denominators by multiplying by 5. If we do it to the denominator, we have to do it to the numerator as well to keep the proportion the same, and you'll end up with 10 on 15. We do the same for a fifth. Multiply by 3 on 3. 3 times 5 will give me 15. Multiply the numerators, gives me 3. Add them together, gives me 13 on 15. Done. Tick. Now when we're working with mixed numbers, there's a couple of ways to do this. One is to convert them to improper fractions and add those, or to add the mixed numbers, or the whole parts of the mixed numbers first, and then the rest. That's what I'm going to do in this case. I have 2 holes here and 1 hole here. I'm going to add them together. That will give me 3 holes in total, and then I'm going to have a third and a half, and I'm going to add those together at the end. Now when I'm adding fractions, I have to make sure that the numerators are the same. So the lowest common multiple of 3 and 2 is 6. To make thirds into 6, I multiply by 2 on 2. To make halves into 6, I multiply by 3 on 3, remembering to multiply the numerators together. So I end up with 2 on 6 plus 3 on 6 will give me 3 and 5/6. I have to be a little bit careful with this, because if the 5/6 becomes more than 1, we're going to have to convert this to a mixed number and add on the whole numbers again. But it's quite a simple way of doing these sorts of mixed number problems. If we have an improper fraction, and typically if you're given an improper fraction and you're not asked to convert it to a mixed number, you can leave the answer as an improper fraction. We have denominators of 3 and 5 from an earlier example. I'm guessing up here. We know that the lowest common multiple is going to be 15. 3 5s are 15, 3 7s are 21, 3 5s are 15, 2 5s are 10. Add the numerators, 31 over 15. By now this should be becoming pretty repetitive, and you should be more comfortable at doing it yourself with a little bit of practice and coming back to the videos when you forget. Easy done. Thank you.